Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the success story session. So we have a very special guest today. Mr. Aditya has recently cleared the RBI Grade B examination. So first of all, congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, so Aditya has cleared the RBI Grade B examination in his first attempt and he had done the self preparation for the phase 1. So today let's celebrate his journey of clearing the RBI Grade B examination and let's understand his strategy that how he was able to clear the RBI Grade B examination in his first attempt and with the self preparation in the phase 1. So let's start with the strategy and with the journey of yours. But before that, do tell us about your educational qualification.
Ma'am, I graduated in chemical engineering in 2021 from BITS Pilani. Thereafter, I went to work in ICICI Bank as a product manager for a year or so. Then I left ICICI Bank because I wanted to get into public services, prepared for UPSC civil services examination, and then went on to give the RBI this year as well.
Okay. So we can say that you have given UPSC for 2 attempts, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now, like after you started working in the bank, so what motivated you to give UPSC or to give RBI?
From my college days onwards, I was interested in public services, and UPSC seemed like a very natural choice to me. Apart from that, also other exams I found out about, like regulatory body exams like RBI and SEBI. So those were also options apart from UPSC.
Okay. And were you not afraid that you will have to prepare finance and management core static subjects you will have to like prepare because coming from engineering background, you must not have studied the finance and management.
Yes, ma'am. I was afraid about management because I had never studied management. When I studied the syllabus, I looked at the syllabus. It was very vast, and I was a little bit afraid that I would not be able to remember all the stuff. But as far as finance and economics goes, in my college I had done a few courses of finance and economics, and I was pretty interested in those subjects. So I had a little bit grasp on the concept, so I was not that afraid of them.
Okay. And how did you came to know about RBI after the UPSC? Like you were preparing for UPSC. So why did you shift in RBI and how did you came to know about it?
So I wanted to work in public services in either the foreign services or either somewhere in economy or finance. So RBI seemed like a very natural choice. It's the leading regulator in India. So I came to know about RBI from there.
Okay. And usually the parents are very supportive of the decision of the children, na, that if they want to grow in a certain area, they should. But like after 2 years of not being able to clear the UPSC exam, and the relatives usually they come and they start saying to the parents, and matlab, they keep on saying and pressurizing. So did you feel the pressure?
Uh, Not that much because my parents were very supportive of it. If any time I felt the pressure, I was a little bit sad or something like that. My parents were very supportive. They were always willing to give me another attempt, another year, because they believed in me. And even in the RBI, when I tried to give the RBI, they were very supportive that do try your best, you'll clear it. And with their blessings, I've cleared it.
Now, like because your preparation journey was a 3 year journey, we can say. So, did you ever felt that now you should leave the preparation and you should go back to the private sector bank or you should go to the private sector? Did you ever feel the pressure or the need, or ever the thought came in your mind?
Ma'am, I planned for it because I'm a very good believe in planning. So I planned for it. I gave myself a 3 year deadline to prepare for civil services. Then after I decided that I would go back into the job market. The pressure, I don't think so that I felt pressure. I always had a 3 year deadline, so I was very confident in my timelines. My parents never pressured me at all, so I was very confident in that way. So no pressure, but I had a deadline.
Okay. And did you ever like had a low phase in your preparation journey?
Yes, during my second attempt for my UPSC, that was my first like serious attempt. I prepared a lot, but my mains was a little bad. A few questions I left in many of the papers. So I was a little sad that I should leave the preparation right now, go back to private, don't waste it. But since my parents were supportive and I knew that I had 3 years, I gave myself 3 years. I decided that I would at least grind out the 3 years and then work, and
Okay.
that it paid off finally.
Okay. And many of the students they like block their social media or they do not use the social media platforms and they also skip doing their hobbies and such. So did you also do so?
Not the hobbies. I love to read and watch movies, so that was my relaxation for the preparation phase. But social media, yes, I was away from Instagram, Facebook, like that. A little bit Twitter I used because I wanted to stay in touch with the news. So that's it. Apart from that, social media, I put it away. But to each their own.
Okay. Okay. Now I think we can go to the preparation part, and let's talk about that how the UPSC preparation has helped you in the RBI Grade B preparation. Was there any thing that helped you in the RBI Grade B preparation?
Uh, Phase one, a little less because it's a very different from UPSC. Phase two, yes, it helped. Answer writing is a skill that, although answer writing in RBI requires a little bit different dimensions, but the skill is transferable. So that helped me a lot. Apart from that, my finance and economics knowledge helped me to quickly realize the concepts, understand the concept, and apply in RBI Grade B.
Okay. And were there any learnings that you want to share with the students, the learnings that you have got in your preparation journey?
Uh, few of the learnings I would like to share is that you have to understand your strengths and weaknesses. That's the most important part. This exam is designed such that anybody with any background can clear it. And they have lots of the toppers you'll see there from various backgrounds. So understand your strengths and weaknesses. Try to work on your weaknesses, get them to a minimum level, and really work on your strengths so that you can outperform the competition. That is one thing. Apart from that, syllabus and PYQs are very important. You have to understand what is the mindset of the examiner, what they're trying to what they're trying to get out of you, and prepare it that way. So those are two of the biggest learnings.
Okay, nice. So let's go to the strategy part now. Let's start with the phase one. So, how did you prepare for the phase one, like for the GA section? Because GA section, first of all, it is very like there are schemes, there are reports, there are ESI current affairs, finance current affairs, RBI notification, and such and such. So, how did you do the self preparation for all these components in the general awareness section?
So, ma'am, from what I have seen other aspirants as well preparing with me, I've seen that there's a mindset that we'll have to prepare for all the 80 questions of GA. That is not the way. So you've seen the cutoffs, you've seen how the RBI is preparing the paper, especially in the last 2 years. It's very difficult. You won't even get to read the 80 questions, let alone attempt it or get it right. So my mindset was that I had less time. GA was a little difficult for me coming from a science background and had no preparation for RBI as such. So I knew that my QRE was strong. So
Hmm.
I understood my strength. I knew that I could depend on them to score above the cutoff. So I just needed to clear the sectional cutoff of GA. But I still prepared. I used the PYQs. I divided the questions into sections of what kinds of questions are being asked, and then decided which ones were my strengths. I knew that
Hmm.
schemes were my strengths because I'm coming from UPSC, so I understood what the scheme was. Just need to
Hmm.
remember the facts. Apart from that, a few other things like state and national GA, something that I am very aware of. So that was my strength, but RBI notifications was not my strength. So I played on my strengths, attempted only those questions, read only those questions which were smaller, and attempted about 40 plus questions with accuracy, and that got me through.
Okay. And what were your sources for all for the GA section?
So my phase one was completely self-prepared. I did
Hmm.
only YouTube, YouTube mostly EduTab YouTube channel. I saw a lot of Gurkirat sir's videos on schemes. Any report video was detailed. I prepared notes for myself. What I did was I took A4 sheets and forced myself that one video, only one A4 sheet. That's it. Otherwise, it would be a very long note. So I prepared A4 sheet notes from the videos for schemes, for reports, for finance current affairs. So that was the major source.
Okay. So, other than EduTap's YouTube channel, was like, were you following PIB? Because most of the students have this question that should we follow PIB and how in depth should we follow PIB? Were you also reading the newspapers like Business Standard, Economic Times, and such? So, in terms of newspapers, were there any?
So, ma'am, I did not have the time to read specialized financial newspapers because I had other UPSC exams as well to prepare for. That came as a boon for me. But I also believe, for honestly, that this exam demands the very crux of the information. So
Hmm.
they don't demand an extensive analytical information from you. So what I believe is that your guys are working on the videos. You are already getting us the data points and the important stuff that will be required in the exam. So I did not feel the need to read the source documents. I did not read any newspapers, any PIP. I just used the videos and the data presented in there and prepared notes.
Okay. So, you didn't follow the PIB.
No.
Okay. And the financial newspapers also you didn't follow. So you followed the EduTap's YouTube channel for your schemes videos, reports videos, and the finance current affairs videos. Okay.
Yes.
But like, how were you so trusting. Like usually the students have this mindset now that we are skipping something, FOMO, like fear of missing out, that we should be doing PIB, the other students are doing PIB. So how did you came out of that fear and how did you trust the YouTube channel so much?
Ma'am, my UPSC journey has helped me a lot here. I've cleared the
Mm,
prelims thrice, and I know
mm,
that in these kinds of examinations where like 99% of the candidates are being eliminated, you think that you're competing against a whole host of candidates. But in these examinations, you're competing against yourselves. There's a cutoff marks. They'll increase by 5, maybe max, if the paper is easy. But if you score that, you'll clear, irrespective of the other candidate's performance. So you're competing against yourself. That I believed wholeheartedly. So I knew that if I can score this much in QRE, so I just needed this much in GA. So I played to my strengths. I competed against myself only. I did not have that mindset that I'm competing against lakhs of people. So that helped me a lot to overcome the FOMO.
okay. Now, here I want to give a disclaimer to the students also that Aditya's strength was quant reasoning and English. Many of the students, they are not good in quant and reasoning, so they should not be following this particular strategy because they have like their strength lies in GA then. If they do not have the strength in quant and reasoning, so those students have to wholeheartedly do the GA because they do not have the quant and reasoning to cover up the whole aggregate cutoff. Okay, so if you are strong in quant reasoning, then you can go with the Aditya strategy. Okay. Now let's go to quant reasoning and English. So how did you prepare for quant reasoning English? Uh, how were you so confident on these subjects?
So, ma'am, I had a background in engineering, so my quant
Mm,
was anyway strong, reasoning was strong, and I had a very good habit of reading, as I've told you. So, I have been reading novels from a very young age, so I had a very good vocabulary, and English was not a problem for me. So, QRE, what I did was everybody should just take the 5 years papers of RBI. See
mm,
that many of the types of questions are repeated. There is a DI of 5 questions every year. There is a reading comprehension every year. There's the types of questions are repeated every year. So divide them into types, find out what are the questions that you have a strength in. Maybe you're not good at solving seating arrangements, but you're good at solving DIs. Maybe you're not good at solving blood relations. Whatever is the strength for you, try to find out that. Work on your weaknesses definitely, and then go into the exam and find out those questions first of all, which your strength lies. Okay, then you'll clear the cutoff. Once you have done like 5 or 10 questions, you'll be confident that I'll clear the sectional, and then you'll be off to the races.
okay. And did you see any videos of YouTube or any other like have you seen any YouTube videos for the quant reasoning and English section, or you
Uh,
only gave mock test?
Ma'am, I only gave like I started off with the mock test, and I felt that my performance was satisfactory, so I did
Mm,
not watch any videos as such. For any weak topic like seating arrangements, I would see a few problem videos, a few tough
mm.
problems or important problem videos that. And I before giving the exam 2 days prior, I just opened the marathon sessions and watched them. That helped.
Okay. So marathon sessions of EduTap, we can say.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So for the GA, you have done the YouTube videos of EduTap, the finance current affairs, the CT 360 current affairs, and the schemes. We can say for quant reasoning and English, it was already very strong for you. You had the strength in these areas. So you only gave the mock test and the MCQs you solved, and then the marathon sessions. Okay. Now I think we can move ahead with the phase two and starting with the descriptive English writing. Now, many of the students might think that you have prepared for UPSC, so you have the strong area in descriptive answer writing. But I want to ask you a very particular question. What about typing? And was really you were confident in the descriptive answer writing in the English section?
So, ma'am, first I'll answer the typing part. Typing is a very peculiar skill that you'll like
Mm,
gain by practice. There's no other alternative to that. Just open Notepad, type essays. You'll get the hang of it in like 15 days. It's not
mm,
that difficult. The speed part will come naturally when you practice questions. So that is not a
mm,
difficult part. Apart from that, coming to English descriptive, people think that it's the UPSC has an advantage in English
mm,
descriptive. It's not so. UPSC English essay writing is very different. It's 1200 words. Here it's only 300 to 400 or 600 max words. Essay writing is very different. There's a pattern to English writing here. You don't need to have flowery language. You don't need to be a proper writer to score marks. There's a pattern. There are certain things you need to do. I watched Sir's videos about what you need to do in Pressy writing. What are the things you need to hit? There's a title, there's a way that you need to express words, your own words need to be used. So there are like 10, once you watch the videos, you'll get like 10 pointers that these are the 10 pointers I need to hit in my writing. And if you hit those 10 pointers, you'll gain the marks. It's like proper mechanical stuff, I'll say, rather than more technical creative writing.
Okay. So we can say that even if you are coming from the UPSC background, you have to hone your your skill in the case of the descriptive answer writing, because the RBI's descriptive answer writing is somewhat a little different in the English section also, and the word limit is also different, and the typing is also required. So, like, uh, did you actually did the typing practice, or
Yes, ma'am.
you were already good in it?
No, I did write essays on my notepad.
Okay. And do you recommend, like, which kind of keyboard were you using? Like, we usually say that the keyboard of a very cheap quality, or you were like typing in a smooth keyboard only.
No, I bought those one of the HP keyboards, standard one that you plug in, and I practiced on that only.
Okay, nice. So now coming to the ESI section. So paper two, that is, let's start with the ESI. So in ESI, you had the knowledge of economic static, you studied. And what about the current affairs? So what was your strategy for phase two? And how many months of current affairs did you prepare for the phase two?
So for phase two, I would say that the most important are for any exam here, the most important are the 3 months current affairs prior. Those are the most
Mm,
important. But for
mm,
phase two, I would recommend that specifically for if you don't have the time, specifically for reports, schemes, and I would say economic survey and budget, everybody knows 6 months is must. Like
mm,
there have been reports asked that are 6 months old, even one
mm.
year old reports are being asked. So I would say even for report, you can go to 1 year as well. But I'd say first to complete 3 months, then go to 6 months, and then 1 year. Go in a reverse order. That would be beneficial.
Okay. And so how many months did you prefer for the schemes and reports per se?
So, ma'am, I did 1 year schemes and 1 year reports. Only those
Okay.
for 1 year. The rest all I did for 6 months.
Okay. And now the phase one preparation and the phase two preparation of the general awareness and the current affairs, how similar was it, or did you do something different when you were preparing for phase two?
So, ma'am, the content is the same in phase one and phase two,
Mm,
although some of
mm,
the reports are added extra. Content is
mm,
same. How you use it is very different.
mm.
In phase one, you just have to recognize the data and put on a MCQ question. In phase two, you have to actually remember the data, use in answers creatively, so that your answer has a backing of expertise and data, and that you can gain marks. So, I think the usage of the data was different. The content was same. Same economic survey I read for phase one, same for phase two, but I used the content in very different ways.
Okay. And now coming to finance and management. So you had no course before the phase one, you had taken no course, so you were doing the self study. So for phase two, when did you start your preparation for the finance and management section specifically? And how did you prepare for the finance and management?
So, ma'am, I had no idea of management. So I knew
Mm,
that that is the one, and that is a very scoring area. So I knew that I'm very behind the competition. So I need to work really hard on that. So one
mm,
day after my phase one, I knew that I'll be selected because I had done very well in QRE. And GA also I did satisfactory well. So I knew that I'll be selected. So I started preparing management from that day onwards. So
mm.
management, I complete like half of my day between phase one and phase two went to management. That is for sure.
Okay.
I completed my notes. I completed the validation material examples that I could collect and wrote answers as well. So management was the most important. In finance, I knew some of the topics
Mm,
like WTO, like static topics I knew. So I skipped them. I just brushed them a little bit. Apart from that, the topics that I did not know,
mm,
financial markets, the depth of
mm.
derivatives, like that, those topics I studied a bit
Okay.
during the middle phase.
What was your source for the phase two preparation then?
Phase two, I took a coaching and all the material that was provided, only that I studied because I did not have the time.
Okay. And phase one, like you started for the phase two preparation, finance and management preparation after the phase one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So were you not afraid that you are starting the management after the phase one has already finished and you only have around 1 month to prepare the management, to also revise the finance segment, to also revise the schemes, reports, and so many of the things. And you have to practice English descriptive writing also. So how did you manage? Like, can you tell me a little about how did you manage so many things all together?
So I would say that this is the part where just hard work. It's complete brute hard work. You have to put in the hours. You have to put in the hours to practice. You have to put in the hour to cram up all the material. So what I did was since I did not have the time, I used the data in a very smart way. For
Mm,
leadership, I knew that I could not prepare an answer for every different type of question that would be asked, for every
mm,
different type of theory, for every other topic as well. I'm just giving an example of leadership. So what I did was I prepared one introduction for leadership. Irrespective of the question, I would use that theorist, that definition, or that data in that topic. All right, I prepared one conclusion. That is all I remembered. And coming to the questions, I prepared a template for an answer. That if an answer on differences was asked, just for example, transformative and transactional was asked this year. So I used a template for differences, and that template, the points I prepared on the spot by my understanding and the analytical understanding I gained while reading. So that was
Okay.
my method. I did not go into depth in every topic.
Okay. So, for management, we can say that you started the preparation after the phase one. For finance, you had some knowledge. You only like improved your knowledge in finance segment. And for the ESI current affairs, finance current affairs, you revised your previous knowledge and you started using that for your answer writing. And you also did your typing practice in the meantime. Okay. Now we have discussed about the ESI, we have discussed about the finance and management. Now, in the examination, when you sat for the examination, did you feel that you have not done enough of the preparation for finance and management, or did you feel that, okay, whatever you did was enough?
So, ma'am, what I'll tell everybody here, every new aspirant as well, any background, is that if you go into the exam with that mindset, irrespective of if you have studied for 1 year, 1 month, or 1 day, you'll fail. Because
Hmm.
that is not a mindset you can take into the examination. You just are there, there's a question, and you have to tackle that. That is the mindset I took with me. So I did not think about what my preparation was. And
Hmm.
luckily, the first question was very easy, and I started writing it, and the flow came naturally, and then I completed the paper.
Okay, nice. So I think we have covered the phase two part also. We have talked about the descriptive English writing and we have talked about the ESI segment, as well as we have talked about the finance and management also. This time there were many static questions in finance. So did you face any difficulty or you were happy with the static questions?
So, ma'am, that's the management part was very interesting this year. I loved it
Mm,
because the paragraph questions were analytical. If
mm,
you read the paragraph and then you are flustered, like I did not study it, you will be gone. The
mm,
game is over. When you read the paragraph, you'll understand that there is from your current knowledge of management. If you read it a little bit analytically, you can gather the answers. So I think
mm.
that I loved it because I had a little limited knowledge of management, but I could use it fully. So that part I loved. But it was a very unique kind of paper they created by RBI this year.
Yes. This time it was different. Like in management, there were many reading comprehension kind of paragraphs or analytical paragraphs were there. So yes, it was different. And in the descriptive answer writing, like in the descriptive part of the paper, uh, right, like finance, there were many static questions. Usually in the previous year, like ONDC question was there, pre-sanctioned credit line. So in the previous years, there were current affairs based question in finance. But this year, there were static questions more. So what was your mindset during the answer, or how do you prepare for that?
So, ma'am, since I had a less time, I knew that there may be one or two questions which are beyond me. I would not be able. So, 81 bonds per question was there.
Mm,
I read it and I was like, okay, I would not be able to do it, but so would 50% of the candidates. So, I was
mm,
not flustered by it. I picked up another question. I had a template ready. I had an introduction, some data ready from economic survey, and I used that in that question as well. So, it's about using what limited information you have in the most
mm.
fulfilling manner rather than gaining more and more information which you can't remember.
True, true, true. That is correct because in the previous year, I think like in 2023 examination, there was a question on migration report, and many of the students were not aware about that report. So many of the students used the same strategy that they, whatever they knew about migration and whatever they knew about the topic, they wrote the answer around that. So that is what you have to do. Whatever information you have to use that information to answer the questions also. Okay. So I think this is it for your phase two. One last question that comes in my mind that many of the students, when they came out of phase two and we called them for the analysis, they were very flustered with management section. They were very afraid and they said that, okay, this time it was very difficult. So for you, it was on the easier side. So what thing you would like to say to the aspirants that how they can like how what strategy they can follow during the examination if the questions or if the things come that they have not prepared for.
So what I'd say is don't get in the habit that I'll just attempt the question and I'll not skip the question.
Mm,
Be ready to skip the questions. If you don't know the answer, just skip the question. They were very the one markers in management were very easy. So if
mm,
maybe you are stuck in the paragraph, you go to the one markers complete like 10 out of 8 out of 10 very very easy. You could easily do them and you'll gain the confidence. Once you do 8 out of 10 of those, you come back to that paragraph and it'll seem very easy. Once you get
mm,
flustered, it's game over. So don't get flustered. keep your calm. You have studied, like definitely you've studied. I can say that studying a lot more than that is not, it's not what is needed. It's about being calm and using the knowledge you have.
Correct, correct, correct. So, as well as RBI has this habit, or the IPPS has this habit of always changing something up. So, you should not be getting afraid now because you already know that something will be changed. So, you should be looking after that, okay, what will be changed and how you can like use it. You have the reading comprehension practice, you have like you know English, you can read English. So, you just have to assimilate the information that you already have and just give the answers to the questions with the calm mind. Okay. One more question now before going. Like usually we have heard that many of the students they face the problem with the system. Their keyboard was not working or PC shut down or something. So it happened with you also.
Not with me, but there was a problem in my center. Something like there's a pop-up for language in there in the system, and people minimized it, but you don't have to minimize it. So there was like a 15-minute delay for many of the aspirants. So that may fluster you, but keep calm. It happens in an online examination. It's fine. You will be able to complete the paper. They'll make ensure that you have enough time.
Okay. Okay, nice. So now let's go to the interview section. And did you give any interviews, like mock interviews?
Yes, Mama. I was really afraid of the interview section because I'm not very naturally good at giving interviews. So I took a lot of mock interviews. I practiced a lot on my own. So that was my majorly. I prepared a lot for interviews.
Okay. So how many mock interviews did you give?
I gave five. I know it's a lot, but I personally gave five.
Okay. And like you have given a lot of mock interviews. Any particular reason for that?
So, ma'am, I knew that I had a lot of problems in my interviewing skills. There is a
Mm.
certain cadence you have to follow in an interview. I did not have that naturally. I don't have that interview as a conversation which you are supposed to have. I have it as a interview session, Q&A session. That was not good. The first interview I gave was a disaster, complete disaster. So I tried ki let's practice on my own, then give two interviews. I completed my style. I gathered all my knowledge, and then gave two interviews before the exam just to gain confidence.
Okay. What were your learnings from the mock interview?
The major learning was that the interview is supposed to be a conversation.
Mm.
I started off the interview as a Q&A session. It's not the mains exam. It's not a phase two exam. It's just a conversation. If you can drive the interview. I was not able to drive the interview. I always flustered and said a lot of wrong things, which you're not supposed to do. That was the main thing. Then second was slow down, think about it, you have time, and then give a structured answer. Use the words precisely. Don't just
Mm.
ramble on about anything. Use the words, whatever you're using, precisely. So these were the major teachings.
Okay. And were they useful? What were the things that you got to know in the interview, mock interview, that were actually useful in the final interview?
So one thing I faced was in one of the interviews, I did not read that RBI document. In one of the mock interviews, I did not read the RBI document, and they asked a lot of RBI questions from that. So I was flustered, and like four or five questions on the trot, I said, no, sir, I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea. And in the actual interview as well, as and when my interview started, the chairman was a chemical engineer, and he's asked me detailed question about chemical engineering. And I had no idea for the first three questions. Like, I have no idea, sir. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But since I gave the mock interviews, I was confident that there's still a lot of interview to go, and I was not flustered and I did not panic.
Okay. So let's now talk about the final interview. As you said that in the final interview, in the starting only, you were not able to give the answers of the three questions on from the chemical engineering background. So were you not afraid that you have done chemical engineering and they might think that you didn't study well or you are not like into studies or something?
So, ma'am, I'll tell you. I sir asked me about what topic did you do in chemical engineering, and the first topic that I mentioned was the weakest topic I had in chemical engineering. So these are the blunders you would have in interview. That is not these are unavoidable. So he asked me about those topics. So I knew that he knew. I said two more topics after that. He knew that this was my weakest topic. He just understood on my face. So I guess he understood that he's just messing with me. So I understood that abhi nahi hoga. It's not the end of the world. You have a lot of more interview questions to go.
Okay. Usually it is in our human nature that if we do a mistake and we think about it, like if I have said something wrong in this interview itself, I will think about it, okay, I gave that question wrong or maybe it was misunderstood or something. So in it is in our human nature. So how were you able to get out of that mindset that I have given three wrong or I was not able to give the three answers? So how did you like continue with the interview with the confidence?
So you will get flustered. मतलब थोड़ा तो panic आएगा कि it's one of the like you're sitting in the RBI center office and the
Hmm.
chairman is in front of you. You'll get the situation will get to you. But ultimately, when they'll ask you one easy question, when they see that you're being panicked, you are getting three or four questions wrong, they're not there to grill you. They'll ask you a very easy question then, and then once you answer that question, again remember, interview is a conversation. The conversation gets started, and when once the conversation gets started, you will get in the flow of it. So just let it go, loosen up a little bit, and just start to answer the question they ask.
Okay. Now I just can you tell us a few questions that came from economics, finance, or like what were the few questions that were asked from you by the panel?
So, ma'am, they asked what they do is that they have a standard setup. They asked some
Mm,
generic questions like, how did you prepare for interview? What are the functions of RBI? They'll ask you these questions just to start the conversation. So they started the conversation with these questions as well. Then, when I said the monetary policy was my favorite function of RBI, they
mm,
started deeply into monetary policy. They asked me about the monetary policy committee report that was given just a few days before my interview. What are
mm,
the changes that the monetary policy committee made? Why did it not change the interest rate? What are your
mm,
opinions on it? And then when I
mm,
mentioned my opinion, now this is where I had a very good learning that you can be opinionated in an interview if you back it up with stats and breadth data. So I gave
mm,
my opinion that rate should be cut. And the
mm,
chairman and everybody was like, why? Do you disagree with Monetary Policy Committee? Do you have more knowledge than Monetary Policy Committee, sir? And then I said that, sir, I don't have more knowledge, but the inflation is structural and we can do this. And I also
mm,
mentioned about one of the members of Monetary Policy Committee because I read the report and
mm,
I explained it very well. I gave my
mm.
opinion. Just after the interview, I thought that I should not have been opinionated. They seemed very flustered. They seemed very angry at me, but ultimately it turned out to be fine. So you can be opinionated, just back it up.
Mm. Okay. One good thing that you did was that you actually quoted the Monetary Policy Committee member that has given the same idea. Because otherwise, it might seem that you are like negating the idea of the six important people that are in the Monetary Policy Committee. So if you are like, as you have said, that you have to give the data or you have to give the stat or you have to give something that is why you are having this opinion. Okay. Otherwise, these kind of opinions can go wrong very badly. So very nicely stated that you can give your opinions, but have some data, have some stat, have some backing of that data, of that
And
opinion.
I'd say have some confidence as well, because like
Hmm.
data is nothing without confidence.
Hmm. Hmm. Correct. And they will try to grill you in the sense that are you able to stand on your opinion or not? So I think
Uh,
that also can be done.
Ma'am, one thing I would like to mention here is that the Monetary Policy Committee, when they went deep into the Monetary Policy Committee, they started grilling me just on that point. So they started mentioning models of monetary policy, like there are
Hmm.
econometric models. They started naming these random models, which obviously I don't know. They know I don't know, but they just wanted to test is he getting panicked or not. And I just said, sir, I don't know about any of the models. I tried to read any finance book, one of the books he suggested, and I was like, okay. And he also went, okay, fine.
Okay, then we are towards the end of the session. And like just before ending the session, any message for the aspirants out there?
Uh, I would just like to say that this exam is designed to be cleared by a lot of different background students. I get a lot of panic students. Okay, I'm from an arts background. I'm from a commerce background. Yeah, I'm from a science background. I don't have the time to read GA. I'll not clear GA. You all can clear this exam. Just know what are the demands of the exam. Work on a very specific way. Have syllabus and PYQs with you. Have confidence. Have good mentorship, and you'll be able to clear it.
Okay. And can we say that the UPSC students have a upper hand in the RBI Grade B examination, as this is the perception many have?
No student has an upper edge in the examination. If you have studied well for UPSC, you are actually improving your personality. You're actually improving your knowledge base. And any candidate with a good knowledge base and a good personality has an advantage, I would say. So, irrespective of UPSC, you can do it in commerce as well. You can do it in your science degree as well.
Okay. Okay. So it was really wonderful talking with you, Aditya. I also got a lot of different perspectives about different things. And we can see that you are a very calm person, or that is how you gave the interview with this calm personality. So thank you so much for coming in the like success story session and talking with us. It was great for me also to take this interview of yours. And thank you so much for coming and have a very, very, very wonderful future ahead in RBI. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
very
coming.
much, ma'am. Thank you.